Hello and welcome to the DMV Roundtable Podcast. I am your host, Jose Barreto, and with me here today is Julissa. How are you, Julissa?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. How are the holidays?
Cold.
Well, it's gotten colder
It
now,
is.
but
It is.
yeah, it was
Now
actually pretty. It wasn't that bad at the beginning, but now it's getting pretty chilly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now it's doing good though.
How's the family?
They're doing good, growing.
Growing?
You know,
Yeah.
Their lists are
You're
growing.
dealing with
too.
teenagers, you were saying?
Yes, my tweens. Their lists are growing. So you know.
They're ready for Santa?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Santa Claus, mom.
Mama, Santa Mom.
Santa mom.
Cool. So we were talking about real estate earlier. So go ahead, take me through what we were talking about. That way we can set this thing up.
Yeah, so today we were discussing about what makes a good listing agent. What kind of things would have a client pick you over someone else based on how you list their property and things like that. So what do you think, in your opinion, are the attributes or the things that person would do to have a better listing or have more success rate for their client?
Yeah. I think I hear that quite a bit. People don't know what makes a difference in a good listing agent and not so good listing agent.
Right.
So breaking down some of the things that we do in order to maximize, we have to remember that the end goal is to maximize the seller's return, right?
For sure.
When they sell their home, we're trying to get them the most money for the property. That's the number one goal, right? Keeping it as simple as we can, right?
Yeah.
So in order to do that, you have to focus on three really, on a few things, but three very important things to start, right? You need to have a good presentation of the property. So the property has to look good, right? The price point has to be correct. And probably the most important thing is, how is your marketing? Like, what are some of the things that you do for marketing, right?
Yeah.
So those are the three top things that I would say that before, as you are showing this listing to the masses, that you need to have covered.
How do you, as a listing agent, when you're discussing that with your potential client, right? Like you're trying to get a listing, price is always like this thing where the seller has this idea of the price, and then obviously the agent is trying to guide them. How would you navigate the price along with all the other two things?
Yeah, pricing I would say is one of those conversations that can be tough sometimes.
Right.
Because when you're sitting with a person who wants to sell their home, obviously they want to sell it for the max. Again, at the end of the day, they're trying to maximize their money. So when you're having a conversation about pricing, it's funny because when I have a conversation about pricing with a client and I say, well, I think your house is worth X, and they like that number, the conversation stops. Okay, we're good. Let's move on. They don't even ask me how I arrived at that number. How, what makes me believe that that's the number. Now, on the other hand, when the number is not there, it's not what they really believe it should be. Then I get hammered with a bunch of questions. And the reason I point that out is because some of the times that I have lost a listing to another agent is because the price point has been overinflated, right? So they have overstated the price of the home, the agent that I'm competing with, right?
Correct.
And because that's the number that they like, a seller will likely go with somebody who is telling them that they can sell the home for a larger number.
Sometimes emotions get in the way of logic.
Definitely get in the way. But that is very dangerous. That is probably the single most dangerous part of listing a home is overpricing the property. Because once you put a property on the market, you have basically 21 days to get an offer.
Yeah.
In most cases. I'm going to say in most cases, because you have some other price points where it is expected to go longer than that. The properties, especially properties that are over $1 million, they are expected to be on the market a little longer. And the reason for that is because the pool of buyers is a lot smaller, right?
For sure.
But for the most part, you have 21 days to market the property, get offers, and get it out. Because once you cross that number, then the property becomes what we call stale in the business. We call the property becomes stale, and
sure.
and then people start wondering, is there something wrong with that property? Why hasn't it sold? Is
Right,
there
right,
is there an issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it overpriced? And yes, most of the time, the reason why a property sits on the market long is because it is overpriced.
Yeah.
So, again, you know, pricing of those three things, pricing is definitely super important.
Yeah, I think pricing attaches the agent more to their client, right? Because that's what the client sees,
Right.
and that's what ultimately they're trying to achieve. That is the thing. But and I think most agents would focus on the price. But working with Jose, we know that the
With us.
we know the main kicker of that is always going to be how you market the property. So talk to us on how. Whether you market it good or whether you market, how can that help your listing or how can that hurt your listing? Because marketing is a huge type, and actually marketing is what really sells the property, not so much the pricing of it.
Right. Well, I mean, price. So the stage, as I said, the three things that I focus on pre-market, pre-hitting the market, being active, right? What we call active in the market are, like I said, presentation. Pricing and marketing, right? So presentation is we need the property to look good, right?
For sure.
We need to, the property is going to hit all of these platforms that includes homes.com, Zillow.com, Redfin, etc., right? So it's going to hit all of these platforms. It needs to look good, right? For somebody, when somebody's looking for a home, they're typically looking on their phone or on their computer. And if the property doesn't look good, they're not even going to go visit.
Yeah.
So the first thing is presentation. The property has to look good.
Yeah.
Part of that includes us, the listing agent, hiring a professional photographer, putting out a floor plan of the property so that people can see if
floor plan is like hands down.
Because I mean,
most of
you
the
don't
time
know.
I'm always looking for the floor plan.
Yeah, do you want? Yeah, because you want to see, if what's
Pictures
important
can be
to you.
deceiving, right?
Yeah,
Like-
and everybody knows that, right? So
Right.
because we
Floor
hire
plans are huge.
a professional photographer who is almost too good for his own good, right?
Right,
so
right.
so the property looks great, right? And so sometimes people are, they get in there and they go like, this is not the
Oh,
same.
I didn't
is
know
this the
this
same
room
property?
led into this room, or
Right.
this closet led into this closet. So it is good to have the both to get the visual with
Right.
the.
So you want the floor plan, right? So again, we include a floor plan with our listings, and then we also include a 3D model of the home where people can actually, on their phone or on the computer,
Which I think is great.
they can just go through it. And in a minute, I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. We're going to go through a live example because this isn't going to be just, lip service. We're going to show you real data
for sure.
of why the marketing that we do works, right? So the 3D model of the property, and then we also show you a map of where the property is exactly, and for people who are not from here, right? Because you also have people that could be looking at the listing from another state.
For sure.
Especially in this area where you have so many incoming people in the military and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you want to make as much stuff accessible to people as possible. And then last but not least is the street view, right?
Yeah.
So you can actually see the street. So, we have all of those things available for people. It gives you a complete overview of the property.
Now, the way we present the property, right, is all this back end stuff that we're trying to prepare in order to hit the ground running so that our marketing kind of works.
Exactly. Because while those three things, again, presentation, pricing, and marketing are the bedrock of what's going to make a successful listing, once the listing is on the market and we get an offer, what becomes super important is our negotiating skills.
Yes.
Okay? Negotiating price. Just because we're getting an offer doesn't mean we're going to take that offer, right? We have the right to negotiate, right?
Yeah.
So negotiating is super important, not just for pricing, but for terms.
Yeah.
Okay, so people always have just pricing in their head, but terms
There's
are equally important.
There's so many little details that come after that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that has to be taken into account. And then lastly is the administrative part, right? Is once you have done the first three, right? Where the presentation is great, pricing is right on, marketing was great, yielded a bunch of offers. Now we got offers. Then we did what? Negotiate. We negotiated, we agreed on an offer, and now what? The administration part kicks in. We got to make sure that we take that transaction from beginning to end.
Yeah.
right? So
It's a lot, you know. A
Yeah.
lot of people think that realtors are just driving around in their car like the 80s and like door knocking, but it's so much back end stuff that you don't even realize.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
in order to be successful,
Yeah.
right? And not just successful you for yourself,
good
but
at-
successful for your clients, right?
Exactly, for
Where
your
they
clients. You
have-
need to be
'cause-
really good at this job to
For
be
sure.
good for your client. At the end of
Yes.
the day, you being a good agent is good for your client.
It's reflective. It's
Yep,
reflective.
It's reflective
yeah.
for sure. Yeah. So anyway, now we go
So
back to
when-
the marketing piece
Yes.
because we have to talk about the marketing. But the
Yeah.
marketing piece is very involved, right? It's there's a lot to that.
I also think it sets agents apart, right? So
It does.
like when you're vetting agents, you want to think of these things like when you're shopping around for your agent. So walk us through like the different marketing things that are available and how an agent can take advantage.
I'll tell you our marketing plan. And again,
Yeah.
this is part of the listing presentation that I take to every listing appointment every time that I meet with somebody who wants to list their property. I take my little listing presentation and I detailed out what the marketing plan is, right? One of the first things that we do is a coming soon strategy, okay? Because as I mentioned earlier, we have 21 days to be active on the market. When you're coming soon, and this is a nuance of the business, so I know not everybody understands this, but
Yeah.
when you list a property as coming soon, it's not technically active on the market. So those 21 days have not begun counting. Okay, so
That's important.
That's super important. And any agent who's not using that, it's either not using it because they don't know, they don't realize that, or the seller may have not had time to,
Get all the
they
stuff
need to
together.
sell right now, and we
Sure,
don't have
sure.
time to, which I understand that part, but aside from the seller having an emergency that they need to sell the property now and they need to put it on the market right now, aside from that as an excuse, there should be no other excuses as to not have the property as coming soon. Why? Because
aside from urgency.
aside from an emergency from the seller, yeah, because 2 week at the very least a week or two as coming soon allows the agents out there to see that the property is going to be on the market.
Yeah.
Okay, it allows them. It allows people to know that it's coming, so that when you hit the ground on day one that is active,
Corriendo.
you already have people.
Yeah.
People already know about the property,
For sure.
right? So that's going to make sure that's going to ensure that 21-day window is maximized.
Stays within 21 days.
Yeah, you want to stay within 21 days. So now, then we do what I call a mega open house on that first weekend. Not just your typical open house. I mean, I know everybody's been to an open house before, and how many times have you gone to an open house where it's empty, it's just you there, you walk around, and then you leave. So we, some of the things, and some of the things that are important to have a successful open house is to shorten the window. A lot of people think, well, I'm going to do a 3, 4, 5 hour window so that I can make sure that as many people come as possible. You know what?
No.
You do a 2-hour window open house. You invite all the neighbors into the open house.
For sure.
Okay, all of that because
The amount of times that Jose has told me this exact thing.
because okay, all right.
It's
Let
important.
me
It's so
try to
important,
to
though.
explain it to people that
No,
don't.
I get it.
Yeah.
There's a sense of urgency. There's a sense of like community that builds in there. There's like if you have this window, like people are gonna make space
Yeah.
for that house that they've been working
For sure.
for. It's like
They're waiting for it to come out because it's been coming soon,
Yeah.
and then they get to that open house, and all of a sudden it's full of people. They don't know that the people that are there are the are neighbors, that are
Yeah,
other
it's so
brokers, that are
important.
other. So I invite all of my agents, all of my agent friends from Spring Hill Real Estate, from other brokerages that I know. I'm like, come to my open house, come visit me. Come tell me, give me your opinion on price, give me your opinion on how we do our stuff.
Yeah.
And I try to pack that open house as much as possible because the buyers, the real buyers, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, we need to put our best foot forward if we want to get this one.
for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
So that's super important. Having magazine quality photos. Like I don't just do good photos. I do magazine quality photos. I mean, these are, again, I know that people sometimes get angry because they get to the house and they're like, the photos look better than the house. but it gets people through the door. So
Yeah.
all the photos are supposed to do is get people through the door.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay.
So marketing.
So
We get sidetracked. I get sidetracked.
no. This is but this is part of.
I asked the questions people want to know.
We have a dedicated website
Uh-huh.
for the property, and then I have a retargeting program.
Okay.
That really spikes up the views on the property.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so let's go ahead and show people a real live example.
Okay,
Should we
sounds
do that?
good.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's go into the computer real quick. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. This is on Homes.com, and this is the listing that I currently have on one of the listings that I currently have on the market. Mm-hmm. This is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home in Arlington, at Turnberry Tower. The price point is 1.5 million, and as you can see, if we go into the photos, when I was talking about magazine quality photos,
Oh yeah.
we're talking about this type of photo, right? This,
Lighting is so important.
the photography is super important because you're looking at a home like this, and if you're interested in that area and you're in that price point, you are going to want to see this home.
For sure.
There's no question whether or not you are going to want to see this home. Okay. We also talked about floor plan.
Yes.
You were saying how important floor plan
I
is.
need a floor plan.
We do this. This is not the floor plan that comes with the property. This is actually a floor plan that we have our guys
Created.
go and draw for us.
Nice.
And so it's very clean, very clear, so that people can understand the flow of the unit, right? Also, map, right? This is your regular map. It shows you where the property is. It's in Rosslyn, where the metro is. You can scroll, you can grab and go around and see exactly where the unit is, right?
Yeah.
This is important for people from out of state.
For sure.
Like people from here, we know where Rosslyn is, right?
Right.
We know where Arlington is. We know all of this. But people from out of state, they don't.
They
right?
need to know
They
where
need to know.
66 is, highways, major things. Yeah.
Exactly. The other thing I mentioned was the street view. So here we give you a live shot of the street
Yeah.
that the building is in. This is the building.
That's the building. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we're giving you a straight shot of where the building is.
Yeah. That's
Right?
good.
You can look around and see. And then lastly, we give you the 3D tour, which is pretty cool.
The 3D
Right?
is the coolest.
It'll bring you
honestly.
in. Yeah, this is probably the coolest thing. People love doing this because it's almost as if you're there.
You're walking it.
You're
Yeah.
walking the unit without having to go to the unit, and this is super important for people who are from
Who are not here.
out of the state, and for them to take a look at the unit and go, "Oh my gosh!" I mean, I've had people make offers and buy properties without seeing them after doing this,
Yeah.
who are not from.
I mean, it's pretty efficient.
It's efficient. It really tells you. It tells the story of the property. Tells you
Yeah.
exactly what you're looking at. I mean, clear as if you were there right now.
Yeah.
Honestly. So anyway, so these are the things that I include as part of the package for the marketing. Now, then we have a program that that pushes our property out into the world, right? Into the
Into
most
the
traffic,
megasphere.
into the megasphere, to get as much traffic as possible.
Yeah.
So let me give you raw numbers because
Okay.
I don't want to just say that. I want to show you that, right? This is the part
Talk
that's going to
numbers.
be important. Tell Orlando to put this on Instagram. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So we listed this property days on the market 8 days ago.
Oof.
Okay?
8 days.
8 days ago, and we've had 266,925 views. Okay,
That's a nice
just to
number.
put that into context, because some people may not understand what that means. I'm gonna go to another unit. He's had 9,577 total views in 85 days on the market.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this other unit has had 8,324
A
views
little more.
in 48 days on the market. Okay?
Yeah.
So more days on the market, way less. Again, I'll take you back 2 hours because it's a staggering number. 266,925
Yeah.
in 8 days.
8 days.
Just over a week, we've had 266,000 prints of this listing. Now,
Yeah.
well, what makes your marketing better than others? Now, I'm not going to give you everything that I do because I'm not going to share all of
Come work
what
for
we
Spring
do.
Hill.
Yeah, come work
But
on
then
our team. But but I am going to give you a little bit of what we do. Okay, so let me take you to my analytics, this is the back end of the machine that we use, right? So here, this system is telling me how many views we've had per day.
Yeah.
Okay, how many of the 266,000 views? It breaks it down by day. How many times have this ad? Because mine is an ad. It's a promoted listing that I'm actually paying for to have promoted out there. Has been retargeted 9,000 times. People have looked at the detail page 715 times. It has been favorited 12 times. The virtual tour have been looked at 42 times. And the floor plans, more people have looked at the floor plan than the virtual tour.
The floor plan is key sometimes.
So where is this being retargeted? So some of the biggest sites out there, the most trafficked websites on the internet right now. So we have this on Facebook, Fox Business, Fox News, ESPN, CNN, the Washington Post, the Weather Channel, MSNBC, MSN.
Everybody knows where this house is at.
BBC, look at this. BBC, Billboard, eBay, Forbes. I mean, so this is our marketing, right?
And I also think that analytics, like looking at your things, if you scroll up and you look at those numbers daily, I think that also helps agents kind of dictate where their things are.
Yeah,
I don't think
course.
enough agents look at their analytics and how, in order to kind of like, okay, this is not working. Listen, and that's how you learn.
You
right?
have to pivot. You have to retarget.
Important.
You have to say, okay, what is it that is not? I can. This for me is like reading a book. Like I can. I'm looking at it and going, okay, this is and this part of the story. What has gone wrong? What can I fix to make this better? Right.
Yeah.
So I can see. Okay, is it pictures? Is it what am I not hearing? So another one of the things that I'm seeing is that this gives me is the agents, some of the agents that are already looking at the property.
Because they have clients.
Right.
Buyers agents.
And so I can go back to these people and go, hey, what's going on? Do you have a client that's going to look at it? When are you going to look at it? So I'm actively trying to get an offer for the property. Okay.
Which is important.
Yeah, it's super
for the
important.
client to know that the listing agent is working its foot on the ground on their behalf.
Exactly. And so so when you ask the question, that's one of the reasons why I feel like a good agent gets picked over some of the other agents is because the seller can see that the work that we do is real.
Investment. It's an investment.
There's an investment. This property, I'll tell you, it's actually a great word that you just used, because if for whatever reason the listing that I take on doesn't sell, all of the money that I invested is a loss of mine. Yeah. It's a loss of mine. Nobody's paying for that for me. Yeah. I'm paying
that doesn't come out of the client.
Exactly. Yeah, I do earn a commission, but I earned a commission. I don't make a commission. I earn a commission.
Correct.
Right. So I actually invest in the listing, get you a buyer, get you the highest price possible for your unit, and that's how we do our marketing. Yeah.
So now that we have looked at real time, an actual example, take us through what other steps we do, or how during our listing presentation, what other things we offer our clients.
So also we, I include AdWorks, which in the retargeting piece that we were talking about, there's another portion of that that some people probably will understand as I describe it. So imagine that you are surfing the web and maybe you're in a website reading a piece of news and you see the property, right, that I just showed you at Turnberry Towers. You click on it, you look at it, but then you go away from it. It's not necessarily that you're not interested. You may not be into that right now. And then let's say that you are, the next day you're surfing the web again at another website. That, because you clicked on it, because you clicked on that, that is going to pop right back up.
Yeah.
It's basically going to follow you. That's called AdWorks. Okay.
We get a lot of those every day.
We implement AdWorks. Our property starts following you. Once you show interest, it starts following you. And it follows you and follows you because there's a reason why you were interested, right? So it starts following you and it keeps following people, until we're done. Right. So we implement that. We also offer a free home cleaning. As you know, Lisette, my wife, owns a cleaning company. So that's complimentary, and we do that the day before the home hits the market. Because again,
Presentation
we'll go all the way to the beginning. The three important things. Presentation is one of them.
Presentation is a huge one.
So you want the property to show beautiful. Okay. And then the last thing is the property's own website.
Yeah.
So it'll say 1234mainstreet.com. And people can go into that website, and all they'll see is information about the website, about the property.
Yeah.
Does it have an HOA? Taxes. I mean, everything that you can think of, it'll be on that website.
Yeah.
So the marketing is very robust. We don't cut corners.
Yeah.
Right.
It's about the investment too.
Right. Yeah. No, of course. And at the end, what we're trying to do is we are trying to maximize the number of eyeballs that go into the property and the number and the foot traffic. Because with more foot traffic, that
more
means
chances.
that's more chances that you're going to get an offer. And not only that, but what we really want is multiple offers.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can't really will a price up. Meaning, you can't say, well, I want $550,000 for this property, even though it's worth $525. I'm gonna get $550 by listing it at $550. You can't force a price up. However, you can bring a price up from what the property is worth if you market it correctly.
Yeah.
By having multiple offers. That's the only way to do this.
Yeah.
Is the only way of doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's good. That's good information for everyone.
Yep.
Because there is a lot of steps that go into listing a property.
Yeah.
And I do think it is important for people to kind of really understand this when choosing a good listing agent.
Right.
And for listing agents themselves to kind of, in self-betterment and self-preservation for your craft, to actually learn about these things in order to have the best outcome for their clients.
Right. And I appreciate that you have gone into this process and you can see why all of this is important, right? Because when you do it, it's not just a matter of putting a sign in front of the property, listing it on the MLS, and then hoping that an offer comes.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that simple. And so, when someone is choosing, whether they're choosing us or not, my advice to someone selling their home is to take that process seriously.
For sure.
Interview the listing agents. Interview more than one. Like, I never really even want people to just interview me. Interview somebody else. Compare this to what somebody else is offering you. And you know what? At the end of the day, if you feel more comfortable with someone else's marketing package and approach to listing a property, by all means, go with them. No problem.
Yeah.
But taking the process of hiring a listing agent seriously will go a long way in a seller maximizing the return of the property.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So this was good.
Yeah.
This is so much information. I think it's so important for our clients to know how we can choose a listing agent, but also for other agents to know as well. Up their game. Never stop learning all these processes.
Absolutely.
You can only get better.
I mean, again, I've been in the business for over 24 years now, and I am constantly learning new things. As we were saying off camera, I was telling you, I'm constantly looking for other ways to improve this marketing package that I have. And over time, I have added things here and there, and I have adjusted some things. I think at this point, we're pretty tight with our package. But if I see, I'm not close-minded. If I see something that works, that will help a property sell quicker and return my client more money, I'm going to implement it into my marketing package.
For sure.
I'm just going to do it. So as you said, continuing to improve, continuing to learn is super important in this job.
Okay. So,
The next step we could do a mailbag if you want. Like if people look at this and they have more questions and they may have follow-up questions. I mean, a lot of the stuff that we gave is basic, but I think I like the fact that we went very specific and we show actually raw numbers, not just the same general stuff that people say. Well, I have a marketing package. I wanted this to be a little bit different. I wanted I wanted people to get something out of this that they don't typically get from a video like this. I wanted them to see numbers. I wanted them to see a live listing that is currently on the market, and
Yeah.
so that they can see what I see on the back end. So if there are other stuff that
More
people want to
questions.
see,
If you guys have more questions,
Yeah.
more things, send them in.
yeah,
Where
we
can they
can
send them in?
we can do a mailbag even.
Yeah.
You know, the comment on
Yeah, comment on this
below,
video.
comment on the video, or contact us directly. I mean, you can call me on my cell 703-626-2609,
Come on, cell
or go ahead and
Call me
call
too.
Julissa. I mean, Julissa, Julissa and I, we work really well
tight.
together. We tight
tight.
like that. Yeah.
Okay,
so-
but yes, send in comments.
Comments?
Questions, comments, concerns.
Concerns. I didn't think you were gonna get there.
I always get there.
Yes, you did.
But yeah, so then we could do a part 2.
We could definitely do a part. We could do mailbag. Like I said,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
could
yeah.
just get their questions and read them to the
Live.
live, and not necessarily live, but we can read them and then answer them right
This
there.
kinda live, this is what I meant.
This kind of
Scheduled
live. Our
live.
live.
Scheduled live.
Schedule.
Thanks so much for taking the
Yeah,
time to
of
answer
course.
these questions. And
We
for
got to do it
digging
again.
deep.
We
Yes.
got to. I mean, we're gonna start next year. We're gonna commit to
Every week.
to
I'm gonna see
being
you every
to
week.
being on camera a lot. And we're
I
gonna
love the camera.
Yeah,
The camera loves
you
me.
know you love this, and you love being the one that asks the questions. I have
do.
figured it out how I'm gonna get this one here more often. Is she's gonna be the one driving the ship?
I do.
Yeah.
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 I'm
So
sorry, I have to drive.
I like it. Hey, I'm good. I'm good answering
I'll drive
questions.
anybody's ship, but
Yeah.
let's keep driving.
All right. Well, thank you, Julissa, for
Yes.
coming. Thank you for doing this with me. This has been a ton of fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll see you next time.
See you next time.